welcome to our functional fitness class. Part of our free Grow with GoGo series. Just a quick reminder, in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services. So anything that you need to get done around the house or need some help with. And you can get all of that by calling one number, and that number is 855-464-6872. Also a reminder that we have a referral code at the bottom of our GoGo receipts. So if you go to the bottom of your receipt and you share that code with a friend, once they take their first service with GoGo, then you will both get both of you will get $10 in credit. We also have a Facebook group, so if you ever want to continue any of our conversations online, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link in the chat so that you can easily access that. All right, now to the meat and why we're here. If we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo. What do we need today? So what do we need? We need a chair, something that's stable because we hold on to it sometimes, and then maybe a set of weights if you have a set of weights. If you don't have a set of weights, you could grab some water bottles, some cans, or nothing at all. I have some light weights, so maybe anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds, something that feels safe, something that you can really comfortably carry. It's more to give you a little bit of a sense of resistance. If you don't have weights, you're just going to imagine that you're picking things up, and that will give you that sense of resistance without actually having a weight. Let's see. Move of the week. Does anybody remember the move of the week from last time?
Adra, this is Carol. Wasn't it stretching your arms above your head?
Yes. Yeah, I had to check my my notes to just put it down. Yes, that's right. And I think actually, Bertha, I saw you had your hand up. You knew that as well.
Yes.
You were great. Both of you have got it. Did both of you do that?
Yes.
Good. Good.
I cleaned my glasses on the top shelf of my cabinet.
There you go. There you go. That's perfect. That reaching overhead. And Carol, I heard you say yes too. So that's excellent. Glad you did that. I like to just give you little moves, things to think about, maybe trying to do throughout the week. Okay. With that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. So now I'm spotlighted for everybody. So I should be your big screen. But if I'm not, sometimes it has to do with your settings. So you'll just have to go to the top right-hand corner of your computer. You'll have to move your cursor up to the top right-hand corner of the Zoom. And you'll see something pop up that's this little square, and you can change the view. So you want it to say, if you want to see me in big, you want it to say speaker view. If you want to see everyone else, then you make it say gallery view. So just know that you can adjust that at the top right, and sometimes your settings override ours. All right, with that, let's just stand. We'll inhale, reach those arms up towards the ceiling. Just getting settled. Exhale, arms come back down. Again, inhale, arms circle out and up. And exhale, come back down. Next time the arms are up, we'll stay up. Inhale, arms go up. Staying up, breathing normally, we'll reach one arm up a little higher, and then the other arm up a little bit more. And we'll alternate a few times here. Start to even yourself out. So you've done the same right to left. And come back to center. Release those arms. And we're going to have a seat. So we're going to do a few things seated before we get into our usual, well, nothing is ever usual, but get into more active things. So finding a seat. We're going to do a spine warm-up today in seated. So we usually do this standing, but today let's change it up. Let's sit. So we'll inhale, lift the chest. We often do this in yoga class. Lifting the chest, sternum lifts, chin lifts, and then exhale, round your back, drop your chin, tuck your tail. So finding some motion in the spine. Inhale, chest forward. And exhale, dropping the chin, rounding the back. I'll give you a quick side view as well. So you don't need to move when I go into the side view. It's just for you to get a different perspective, if that's helpful. And then make your way back to center. Sitting nice and tall, we're going to twist. So go ahead and rotate your spine one direction. Either way is fine. Let your hands rest on your chair and on your leg. We'll rotate and just hold that twist. Few breaths. Maybe noticing where your breath goes when you're in this rotated position. And then rotate the other way. Noticing if it's maybe easier to twist one way or the other. And then back to center. All right, so today we're going to do a lot of work on our core, and that can mean a lot of things. So that could mean the abdominals, that could mean your back body, that could mean some breath work or pelvic floor work. Our core is really this whole canister of our torso, the front, sides, back, top, and bottom. So we'll do little bits of all of that. For now, what I want you to do is reach your arms up overhead. Now, when you reached your arms overhead, we worked on this a lot for the last move of the week. So that was 2 weeks ago, because last time was yoga on Wednesday. Watch that you're not doing this. So we're thinking about keeping those ribs down, which might mean you need to bend your elbows a little bit, or it might mean that you need to bring your arms a little forward, or a bit of both. So bring those arms down again. Watch that your spine doesn't move, and then reach those arms up. And again, no problem if your elbows are a little bit bent or a little forward. So that's really, the goal is not up high. We're going to add a side bend here. Keep this really small. I'll mirror you. So you'll do a tiny side bend to the right. Now, as you side bend to the right, imagine someone is pushing. I'm using my hand. You don't need to do this. But imagine someone is pushing onto this left side of your body. And you don't want them to push you over. So you're slightly side bent to the right. They're pushing you to the right, but you don't want to go to the right. You want to resist it. So you're going to sort of push to the left, even though you're side bent to the right. I know that was a lot of things that I just said. So we'll come back to center. We'll do the other side. I'll say the whole explanation again so that we have it. So arms come down for a moment. Give our shoulders a break. Arms come up, ribs don't move, spine doesn't move. It doesn't matter how high your arms are. Small side bend. Now we go the other way. So small side bend to the left. Imagine someone is trying to push you further into that side bend, right? They're trying to push you further to the left, but you're resisting them. You're pushing back against that resistance. So even though you're side bent to the left, I'm mirroring you, even though you're side bent to the left, you're almost trying to push back up to center or slightly to the right. And come back up. Let's release those arms. So now we're going to do that a little bit faster with that same idea. So we're creating some resistance, and that resistance is going to start to fire up some of those core muscles. So arms come up. Let's take an inhale. Exhale, side bend to one side. Find that resistance. Inhale, back up. Exhale, side bend to the other side. Find that resistance. So find that strength. You're resisting that side bend, and come on back up. So keep going. A few more times, side to side, at your own pace. If you want to change the breath, that's totally fine with me. But I want you to continue to breathe and to find that resistance. So it's not about going into a deep side bend. It's about finding those core muscles in some way. It can be hard to find the core muscles if your ribs are thrust forward. So if that's happening to you, maybe you just bend those elbows and do the side bend so that you make sure that it's just getting that side bend and no back bend at the same time. Let's even ourselves out. So we've done the same right to left. And come back to center, release those arms, shake it off. We'll revisit that idea a little bit later in standing and even potentially with some weights, but we're going to stay in our seat for just a few more things. Scooch towards the front edge of your chair if you're not already forward, because I want there to be plenty of room behind you, between you and your chair. Arms cross in front of you. I don't really mind. You can make an X, you can cross your arms, just get the arms out of the way. We're going to do some hip hinging, but it's going to feel like some core work as well. So we'll try and keep our spine still. So earlier we were doing this cat-cow motion, this flexion and extension of the spine. Now that's not happening. The spine stays still. We'll inhale, lean back towards your backrest. You may or may not touch the backrest. I don't know, depends on how close it is to you. And exhale, sit back up. So now we'll feel a little bit of the front of the abs, mostly because we're creating some stability here, trying not to back bend. Inhale to the back, exhale coming up. Keep going. All right, and then coming up, let's take a little break. And we'll bring our hands inside of our sticky outy hip bones. So we have these hard bones that you can find in the front of the pelvis. And you're gonna move in just an inch or two so that you feel some softer part of your body. So you find the bone and then you move in towards center. I want you to feel this area with your fingertips in this seated position as we do a hissing sound. So you might find something happens under your fingers. You might find that nothing happens. So this is just an experiment. We're going to see what we feel. So we'll take an inhale. And then on your exhale, feel under your fingertips. You'll make a hissing sound. I don't know if the mic is picking up my hiss, but I want you to hiss and I want you to keep hissing until you have no air left and feel what's under your fingertips. All right, let that go. Normal breaths. So what we're looking for when we do the hissing sound is for you to expel all of your air and to find a little bit of firming underneath those fingertips to get some of those deep core muscles to activate. If you didn't feel it this time, that's okay. Maybe you'll feel it in one of the next few times that we try, or maybe it's gonna come in a couple of weeks. So just know that it's okay if it doesn't show up today. Sometimes when something is new, our body hasn't figured it out yet. So no stress. Finding that soft spot, so right inside of those sticky outy hip bones in the front of the pelvis, you move in towards your abdomen so you can find some softer part. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, hiss out all your air nice and slow. As you hiss, keep going, keep going. It should be a really nice long hiss. See if you feel any firming under your fingertips. Maybe even pull the abdomen in a little bit, like you're pulling your belly button in and up. Slightly, hip bones are moving towards each other and up, if that's another way to think about it. This is just a slight hug in, like you're hugging your belly with your core muscles. And letting that go, a few breaths. We're just gonna do that one more time. And if that wasn't for you, you'll just let it go, right? We just let go of those things that don't make sense. Eventually, as we hear them over and over again, they might make sense, or you might feel it. So feeling that area one more time, take an inhale and exhale, hissing. As you hit, think about lifting your belly button slightly up, just a little bit, very subtle. And letting that go. I want to do one more here, but it's not going to be a hiss. We're going to blow out some candles. That might give you, it's just a different way to think about it. And sometimes that's helpful. So we'll try one more time, but this time you'll take a deep inhale and you're going to imagine that you're blowing out 100 candles. You can't blow out 100 candles in 1 second. So it's not a, it's going to be a long, right? As long as you can, because you have to hit every single one of those candles on that birthday cake. Okay. So we'll do a deep inhale. Slowly blow out 100 candles and see if maybe that helps. Maybe that's the cue that you need to feel the lower abdomen activate a little. So nice deep inhale. And blow out those candles. And letting that go. We're going to do that one more time so you get a full chance of trying both variations, the hissing and now the blowing out. And then we'll get to standing to more active stuff. But this is really important to give us some of that functional core, that reflexive core, which is really the base of everything. We want our core to work so that our limbs can move more easily. All right, last one, deep inhale. Exhale, blow out those 100 candles on your birthday cake. And then letting it go. All right, let's stand up. So as we move today, I'm going to refer us back to that core activation, that blowing out of the candles feeling or that hissing feeling. If it didn't resonate with you, just let it go. You'll still do all the exercises. You just don't need to think about it. If it worked for you, if you really felt your core there, then I want you to incorporate it when I mention, oh, blow out those candles or find that hissing feeling in your abdomen. Okay, with that, let's grab those weights. Let's put the weights in front of the chest if you have them. If you don't have weights, don't worry about it. Let's do some squats. We'll take our legs wide. So we'll go about as wide as the shoulders or wider. I'm letting my toes face forward. It's up to you. You could do out or forward. We'll inhale on the way down, squatting. You decide how low you go, right? It doesn't need to be super low. And then come on up. It can be a little tiny squat or it can be a really deep squat. It's up to you. Keep going at your own pace. Finding that breath as you move. So it's inhale down, exhale up. All right, coming up. Let's keep holding on to one of our weights, put the other weight down. If you don't have a weight, that's fine, you don't need it. You also might find that you want to put your weight down as we do this if it feels really challenging. Arms go up overhead. We're going to do that same exercise we did seated, that side bending, except for with a weight and in standing. If you reach those arms overhead and you're back bending, get rid of the weight or bend the elbows a little bit. So make sure that spine is not arching, right? We don't want to do that because then we're not actually going to get the core to fire up. So arm overhead, ribs relaxed. We'll inhale, side bend to one side. Find that resistance. So resist the side bend. Don't just plop over. And then come on back up. Over to the other side. And back up. Let's do this with the breath this time. So we'll inhale into the side bend. Exhale, feel that core. Blow out those candles as you lift yourself back to center. Inhale, side bend. Feel that core. Blow out those candles as you come back to center. Keep going a couple more times. At your own pace. Or do the hissing. Relax your glutes. Try not to squeeze the bum. Let's do about one more each side. And go ahead and release. Woo. Take a breath. Back to our squats. So you can grab those weights or have no weights or just one of the weights. Chest is lifted. I'll give you a side view this time for our squats. We bend those knees, hips go back, and we come up. And just a reminder, I didn't say this at the start of class today, but listen to your body, right? This is your time and your practice, and you are responsible for your body. So if something doesn't feel good, don't do it. Change it, do something else completely, or modify it, right? We want to be able to continue to move for as long as possible. So listening to your body and moving in ways that feel safe and good for you is really important. All right, coming back up. Going back to that side bend one last time. Get rid of your weights or hold on to just one weight. Find that nice long spine without thrusting the ribs forward. Arms up towards the ceiling. Again, my arms are not totally up towards the ceiling. When I say up towards the ceiling, it's moving in that direction, but they're slightly forward so that I don't thrust the ribs. From here, we inhale, side bend to one side. Find that resistance. So imagine someone is pushing you further into the side bend, but you don't want to go further. You're resisting them. And then you exhale, engage the abdominals, lift yourself back to center. Inhale, side bend to the other side. Again, imagine someone's trying to push you deeper into this stretch and you're trying not to. You're resisting them, and exhale back up. Keep going. Keep those ribs relaxed. So if you're finding it really hard to relax the ribs, bend those elbows or get rid of your weight. Keep going. Notice if you're clenching anything you don't need to be, jaw or glutes, let them go. Start to even yourself out so you've done the same right to left. And come all the way up. Take a moment. Take a few deep breaths. We're going into some bicep curls. We're just going to do nice, simple bicep curls, traditional ones. So grabbing those weights if you have them, palms face forward. We bend those elbows, hands by the shoulders, and then lower the arms. Moving slowly with control. All right, we want the down to be just as controlled as the way up. So no dropping those weights downward. They're really controlled on the way down. This is your time to catch your breath. So if you want and you need a little bit more break, you could alternate. You could do one arm and then the other. That's an option. Jaw is relaxed. If you don't have weight, you're imagining that you're pushing through something with resistance. Maybe you're moving through concrete, wet concrete, of course, or honey, or water, whatever it is, something that has some resistance. Couple more. All right. And we'll put those weights off to the side. And we're going to stand by our chair. I'm moving the orientation of my chair just to make it easier for you to see me, you don't need to do that. We'll place our right hand on our chair. If it's not accessible to get your right hand on your chair, get your right hand on a wall, get your right hand on a table, get your right hand on something. If that's really not possible, left hand on something. You have to hold on with some hand. So I have right hand on the chair. Let's take the right foot forward and the left foot back. So I'm stepping the right foot forward, left foot back. Feet are anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart, and I'll scooch back actually so you can see my feet. So feet are anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart. All 10 toes face forward. We're on railroad tracks, and by that I mean your legs are on different lines. You're not on a tightrope. Sometimes we balance on a tightrope. We're not on a tightrope. We're on railroad tracks. So the right leg and the left leg have some space between them. Right, a ball could run between the legs if they were standing next to each other, right? And they wouldn't hit the legs. Back heel is lifted. Front foot is completely flat. We'll straighten out both legs. Keep holding on for balance. On your exhale, you'll bend both of your knees, lowering yourself down towards the ground. We're gonna keep our torso vertical. It's up to you how low you bend, right? You don't need to go super low. And then push down into the feet to rise. Exhale, bending those knees. Inhale as you rise. Keep going. More challenge, you go deeper. Less challenge, you keep it small. Be kind to your body. Watch that front knee tracks straight forward and that it doesn't knock in or out. You want that knee following the same line as your toes. All right, let's go ahead and step out of that. And we'll turn around and switch sides. So now left hand is supporting you and left foot is in front. Right foot is behind. Feet are anywhere from 1 to 3 feet apart. You're on railroad tracks. All 10 toes face forward. We bend those knees, keeping the torso upright and straighten the legs. Exhale, bending. Inhale, lifting. Keep going. All right, one more. And coming up. Let's grab our weights. We'll now do some hammer curls. So very similar to the bicep curls, except for now our palms would face each other. So traditional bicep curls, the palms face forward. For hammer curls, the palms face towards each other. It's like you're holding a hammer and you're trying to hammer something. And then we bend the elbows and straighten. So it's same idea, nice and slow with control, or add that own resistance, especially if your weights are feeling really light. Imagine that you're moving through something sticky or with resistance, water, peanut butter, jello, honey, wet concrete, whatever you want to visualize is fine. But creating that resistance, especially if this feels easy, that will create more challenge and more control. Almost always slower is harder. Let's do about 2 more. There's no rush if you're still going, but when you're done with your last one, you can put your weights off to the side. And we'll go back to those split squats or lunges. Right hand on your support, right foot forward. Left foot back. All 10 toes face forward. Back heel is lifted. Again, we're on those railroad tracks. Let's change the breath just for fun. It'll be different from what we did last time. So we'll inhale on the way down. So inhale, bend those knees. Exhale, straighten the legs. And I want you to add that feeling of the candles, those blowing out 100 candles, or the hissing when you're doing that exhale. So we inhale on the way down. Exhale. Blow out the candles, feeling that lift as you straighten the legs. Keep going. Couple more. All right, and we'll switch sides. So stepping forward, turning around, support yourself with your other hand. So left hand is supporting you, right foot is back, left foot is forward. Again, same setup, feet are 1 to 3 feet apart, all 10 toes face forward, back heel is off the ground. We'll do that same new breath. So we inhale on the way down. Exhale, blow out those candles as you straighten those legs. Or find the hissing if that's better for you. Couple more. All right, and stepping out of that, go into a little stretch here. So facing your chair now so that both of the hands are on the backrest. We'll go into an upside down L. So we'll walk the feet back. Bringing the torso parallel or so to the ground. So you're finding that spine is parallel to the ground. Your hips are over your heels. If possible, the arms are straight. If that's not possible, bend the elbows, or you can always lift your chest a little higher. Few deep breaths. And coming up. Walking yourself forward. We'll interlace those fingers behind the back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and reach those knuckles back. You decide how far back they go. Just getting a little stretch here into the biceps and into the chest. A few deep breaths. All right, and release. We have one more exercise. We're going to do, it's a pretty full body exercise. We'll go slow and then I'll let you go off on your own. We're going to combine the squat and then add a side bend. So let's set ourselves up for our squat. Keep those those feet relatively narrow. So we'll go about shoulder width. So it might be slightly more narrow than what we did at the start of class. So feet are about shoulder width, maybe a little bit more, but don't go crazy. We'll inhale, bend those knees into the squat. And then straighten those legs. We're side bending, so we'll side bend to the right. I'll mirror you. Find that side bend, find that imagined resistance. And then bring yourself back to center. We bend those knees into the squat. We straighten the legs, other arm, right arm comes up, side bend to the left, find that resistance. And then back to center. So we're just combining the two. It might feel a little staccato right now, but it'll flow a little bit more as you continue. So keep going here at your own pace. You squat into your side bend. You still want to find that strength in that side bend. So it's not about the depth, it's about that control. And you'll keep going at your own pace. I like to make the breath really slow. So I inhale for the squat. Exhale for the full side bend. As I side bend and as I come back out of the side bend. That's how I like to do the breath. Maybe you decide you want to do the breath differently. That's totally fine. Watching that you're avoiding any back bending as you do this. Or twisting. Sometimes we twist when we do this. Trying to get that pure side bend, just a few more. All right, even yourself out. Once you're even, come back to center. We'll do a couple shoulder rolls back. A couple shoulder rolls forward. Let's do super gentle head circles. Keep it small. If you feel unbalanced when you do this, grab a hold of something or sit down when you do the head circles. But be gentle. Don't go to your max here for your head circles. Circle the other way if you haven't switched. And then back to center. Let's inhale, circle those arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling, reaching tall. Exhale, arms lower back down. Inhale, arms circle out and up. Exhale, back down. Last time, inhale, arms circle out and up. This time, hands touch, palms lower towards the chest. And give yourself a round of applause. Awesome work, everyone. So great having you in class today. I wanted to leave a little extra time today to chat in case you had some questions, because every class is different, but today we did a lot more talking about the core and about the abdominals. So if you had questions about that, I wanted to leave us some time to talk about that. But before we do that, side bend is your move of the week. I want you to, get some side bends in. However you want to do that is fine. Maybe you're just sitting in your chair watching TV and you go, oh, okay, I'm going to give myself a little side bend. And you can do a bit of both. You can go into the side bend where you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting a really nice stretch. And then, okay, let's go into the side bend with some resistance and feel my core fire up as I come out of the side bend. So you can play with that in lots of different ways. So get some side bends in, between now and our next Wednesday functional fitness class. And now I will open it up if you have any questions for me.
You
Also,
better
if you want
write
to
that
see
down so you won't forget.
Yeah, oh, thank you, Carol. You are so right. Right, any questions for me? Now's your time. If it's GoGo questions, you should email GoGo though, if there are questions about yoga or the functional fitness.
Hey, Adrian,
Hi,
Ross
Ross.
here. Sorry to come in late, but it's back to school time, and so I've got a previous thing going on until 11:30. So on Wednesdays I may just have to come in near the end, but at least I know what I'm supposed to work on next week, or even for Friday. I think, aren't we repeating on Friday with the class is not a exercise? Okay, I was just trying to keep up with the trend. Where am I? Duh. Anyway, sorry, I just caught that last end of it. Otherwise, you know me, I would probably have some feedback for you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you can pop in for just, 10 minutes. That's nice. And no worries. Yeah, we have our Friday. The class that I do on Wednesday has nothing to do with what we do on Friday. Occasionally I'll tie them in, right? Because last time we did functional fitness on Wednesday, I sort of alluded to that with the arms reaching overhead, thinking about that. But usually there's no specific correlation because I don't want it to feel like, oh, I'm missing out on something if I don't make it to both classes.
Well, you have the recordings too, so I can go back to it. It's just that I just apologize for coming in so late, but you know my schedule.
Yep, nothing to be sorry about. Better late than not at all.
Thank you.
And we have in the chat V's sharing where you can find the YouTube channel, and if you subscribe, you'll get a notification every time we post a video. And then you'll also get an email. All right, I guess we don't have any questions, which is great. That's fine. I will let everyone go. I'll hopefully see you either Friday or next Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week and get some side bending in. I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Adra. See you next week.